Hey, what's up guys? So I am here today in Vancouver, BC at BlackboxMyCar headquarters, and we're going to be taking a look at the very best dash cams on the market. Everything as far as the basic affordable ones, and then working our way up, adding more features, more capabilities, all the way up to the top of the line dash cams. And to help me out with this, this is Alex Jang, who is the CEO of BlackboxMyCar. And the reason that I wanted to come here and have them help me do this is they're the biggest distributor of dash cams here in North America, and they know these dash cams inside and out. I've got my perspective as far as what I like. I know you've got your perspective as well, and you also have a ton of cool insights as far as things from not only the companies, but also tons of different customers that you work with. And so we've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about with all these different dash cams. With that said, I guess, should we just start with the maybe inexpensive ones?
Yeah, for sure.
And start working our way up?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so taking a look at the dash cams, if somebody maybe comes to you and they say, hey Alex, I'm looking for a dash cam, how do you start with them? What do you ask them?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, many of the customers come in with that question because either you know it or you don't know it, you heard about a dash cam and you find it useful, you want one, but you're not 100% sure because there's so many out there, especially under $200 category or even $100 category these days.
So many dash cams,
right?
yeah.
So the first thing I would ask is if you are interested in a dash cam with parking mode.
Okay.
Because generally parking mode dash cams are only available within Korean dash cams, I'd say. I mean, Chinese dash cams are now optimizing the way that parking mode works. However, the parking mode system, I'd say Korean dash cams are a lot better.
Okay.
So with that said, if the customer comes in and says, I don't really care about parking mode, I just want a dash cam for the sake of me driving, and in case of an accident, I want video footage to back me up.
Okay.
And in that case, I would start with A119 by Viofo. This is, I'd say, one of the most affordable dash cams with really, really good video quality. In fact, 1440p.
1440p.
For a dash cam that's only about $90, under $100 US.
Yeah.
And it can take up to 128. So I always recommend if a customer comes in and says, I don't care about parking mode, but I want a reliable and a dash cam that comes with decent video quality, A119 is our option.
Yeah, this one's kind of amazing. I mean, yes, dash cam's less than $100, and for that you're getting 1440p, twice the resolution of 1080p. The quality's awesome. I really like the form factor with this one. I mean, it's inexpensive. It's one of those dash cams where it's so cheap that you almost don't have a reason not to get one.
That's right.
There's a couple different versions of it as well. They all have different features. There's the A119, which is the regular one. There's also the A119S and the A119 Pro.
That's right.
And so we're actually going to be kind of recommending for most people the A119.
That's right.
The V2, second generation of it.
Yes.
Yeah, and so why is this one kind of the main pick that you would give to people?
Yeah, for sure. So just like he said, we have the S and the Pro, but we've also confirmed with Viofo that A119 is here to stay.
Yes.
And the price difference between the S to non-S and to Pro, it's only about $10 to $20 difference.
Yeah.
And for that amount of money, I'd say just go with the most basic Viofo A119 V2 version. It does also come with 2K video quality, and it's got the 160 wide angle lens.
160-degree viewing angle.
Exactly, unlike the 140 that you see on the S model and the Pro model. The S model does have Sony lens in it. However, I think that Viofo itself, for that A119 price point and the quality that it comes with, I think it's the best all-rounder.
Yeah, I agree. At the price point, the A119 is awesome. I mean, yeah, it's kind of become the one that everybody recommends.
Exactly.
I've got all three of them in my car. The A119S, it's more optimized for low light. It uses a different sensor, the Sony Starvis sensor, but the low light performance isn't that much better than the others, and it only shoots at 1080p instead of 1440p, and I definitely notice a difference there. So having the higher resolution is really helpful. Out of the three, I personally prefer the A119 Pro. Same idea as the A119, just a different lens and sensor. I know you mentioned it's 140 degrees instead of 160. The reason that I prefer it is my particular one. Apparently this isn't common, it doesn't happen, but the lens, mine got a little wobbly, and I don't really see that much of a benefit of having the lens go side to side like this, because usually you're mounting it in the center of the car. It's cool, but I kind of see it as one extra thing to break. For most people, it's totally fine. It's not a common thing at all. They all kind of go up and down like this, so you can aim it in your car, which is great, but I prefer the A119 Pro. It's like an extra 20 bucks or something like that.
That's true.
But I think for most people, there's not actually problems with the lenses, and if you're going for something inexpensive, typically the A119, the V2, second generation one, which is what you'll get now, this is typically going to be the one that most people would go for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the price is around under $100.
Yeah.
You just can't go wrong with it. If you want something very simple, you don't care much about the parking mode, I'd say A119 is the choice of option for us.
And something that I like about you guys, usually one things that like people will do to cheap out and like try to get to the low price point is they don't include a memory card, and then you're like, oh man, I need to go out and buy one, which drives up the price. But you guys actually include it with the camera.
That's right. If you're shopping on our site, we do actually include either 16 or 32.
That's cool.
But we always do. So for the same price on other marketplaces, but we always include it on our website.
That's cool. I like that you guys do that.
Thank you.
Cool. And then so moving on, Viofo also does like a 2-channel dash cam with some extra features, which is the Viofo A129.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about the A129.
Sure. So A129 is essentially a 2-channel format for a Viofo A119 in a way. Viofo decided that it's about time for them to also create 2-channel system, because if you look at all higher end Korean dash cams, it all comes in 2-channel system nowadays. And even for us, I'd say 95% of our customers all go for dual channel system these days.
So dual channel meaning you have a second camera pointed out the back window.
And back.
Front and rear.
Front and back.
Yeah.
And Viofo made yet another very affordable dual channel solution.
Yeah.
And it's also cool in a way that Viofo was trying to integrate parking mode in it.
Yes. So it's got parking mode capabilities
too. It does. So it does have the parking mode by motion detection and also the time-lapse mode. So if you're looking for something really cheap and you don't necessarily, again, need the proper parking mode, just for the sake of having a second witness in your vehicle, I'd say Viofo A129.
So something interesting that you'll notice is if you look at the A119, it does list that it has parking mode, but it's not useful because every time you want to go in and out, you have to go into the menus and like set it into parking mode and then take it back out. And that gets old really quick. And the difference with the A129 is there's a new hardwire cable that's available. And if you hardwire it into your car, that allows it to automatically switch into parking mode once you park and then back into driving mode. So pretty much hands-free and you don't have to mess with it anymore, which is really the way to go.
Yes, that's true.
Otherwise, main difference is it's physically redesigned. They added Wi-Fi to the camera, 1080p front and rear. But otherwise, similar idea, just kind of the 2-channel one plus basic parking mode functionality.
That's true. So that's why it's our top 2 choices for if you're looking for a dash cam. Not necessarily you're looking to spend so much, but you just want a dash cam. You get to hear about it, you know about it, you want one. I don't want to spend so much money. This is a good starter package.
So they're like your best budget dash cams.
Exactly. I'd say so.
So moving on to this next one, what do we have there?
So this is called Thinkware FA200.
Okay.
This could be a 1-channel solution, or you could buy a dual channel system. Okay. This one has a IR cam in it, but it does come without the IR cam for FA200.
2 versions of it.
So there are 2 versions of it.
Okay.
And I'd say if you are looking for a dashcam with parking mode, and if you are willing to spend, actually it's only about $20 to $30 more to buy a actual Korean dashcam that has a proper buffer parking mode.
So that's the difference.
That's the big difference.
So buffered parking mode versus non-buffered.
That's true.
What's the difference between the 2?
So with the buffer parking mode, it captures, even though the car is parked and dashcam is completely turned off in some sense, it does still, when the motion gets detected or an impact gets detected, 5 seconds, depending on a dashcam, or 10 seconds prior to that motion or an impact gets detected, it makes it into a one big file. So from the time that motion gets detected, 5 seconds prior to that actual motion being detected, you get the whole picture essentially. Whereas with the Viofo or the Chinese dash cams, as soon as motion gets detected or as soon as an impact gets detected, that's when the video starts shooting.
Makes sense.
So about 5 seconds prior to the actual event, you might be missing some videos that you might actually need.
Yeah, and this is a huge deal. Like, to me, this is one of the most important things also for parking mode. It's number one, the automatically switching is a must. And for me, the buffered parking mode is huge because in case like there's a hit and run, somebody backs into your car.
It might be too late.
It's too late, yeah. Like this will actually show the person backing into your car and hitting your car, as opposed to a non-buffered camera just shows somebody's in front of you and then driving away. So you don't actually capture the impact. You still will get their license plate, but you don't actually capture the whole event. So I really like the buffered parking mode capability just because it'll capture the whole thing.
Yes.
Both of them shoot 1080p in the front. This one is 720 in the rear. This is 1080 in the rear.
That's true, that's true. So FA200 isn't necessarily offering same video quality as the Viofo A129s, but it does have a longer track record of being a more reliable dashcam company, perhaps.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I like Viofo, and I've also met with the owners like you did.
Yeah.
I've actually visited them in Hong Kong and also in Shenzhen. So I know they're brothers, and they're really, really into making a super cool dashcam.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. And all their people that work for this brand, again, like for many, many years in Chinese dashcam category, there wasn't a brand. And we don't see a dedicated a company that's willing to do something for this market. And Viofo did. And that's why it's exciting. However, Thinkware, you could say Garmin of Korea per se. So they've been making that they've been making navigation system in Korea for decades, a couple decades actually, and it was about their time 4 or 5 years ago to jump into the dashcam market. And because they have they're able to make dashcams in mass, they're able to produce something within Korea that can compete even with Chinese dashcams.
Okay, so it sounds like the main benefit here is you get the more advanced parking mode capabilities. They've been working on it longer. They've got more tool capabilities, as opposed to this one maybe like higher resolution in the rear camera. So trade-offs.
Yeah,
each one has their pros and cons.
Of course.
Perfect. Okay, so we've got that, and then you also mentioned this one has IR.
That's
this
right.
particular one. So what's the benefit of IR?
Sure. So what's good about FA200 is that you have two options. Essentially, you could buy a non-IR version to cover front and back of your vehicle to make it into a dual channel system.
Okay.
And FA200 also has a capability of you could buy a rear cam that has IR lens to it.
Okay.
So essentially with that IR, you could use one in the front with this facing forward, and with the IR cam should be shooting inside the cabin.
Okay.
So if you're driving for, let's say, Uber or
Lyft
shares,
drivers,
exactly, this could be a dash cam that also has parking mode in it, and therefore even when you're not in the vehicle and cars parked, you're able to still monitor anybody that's breaking into the vehicle per se.
Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, and then the IR light is just going to light up the inside of your car. So if there's any passengers in the car doing anything, this will actually capture inside the car as opposed to using it and mounting it on the back window. That's the benefit.
Right.
So I know there's a couple other maybe similar like 2-channel dash cams where they do the same thing and they take the rear camera.
They do.
What's different about this one as opposed to like another 2-channel with IR?
Sure. So specifically, I guess with Thinkware, I like their business model in a way where you could buy, again, FA200 just the front only, and you could buy a IR cam for internal recording purposes, or you could buy a non-IR cam to make it into a dual channel system.
Okay.
Blackvue has Blackvue DR900S-2CH IR,
650,
750. Yeah, that's right. But for them, you have to buy it in either like in that moment, whether or not if this is going to be used for specifically internal facing purposes, or you need to make that decision like now.
Yeah, as opposed to
for it.
So this one you could just buy the single one if you want and then add on the second one?
Exactly. It won't necessarily work as a 3-channel system. So some people do ask whether or not can I buy FA200 with the IR cam so that it can shoot front and inside, and can I add another cam for the rear? It doesn't necessarily work that way.
Okay.
It's a dual channel system. I wish they could make it that way.
That would be kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah, I know. But at the end of the day, I just like the fact that you have the flexibility of always adding the second channel with Thinkware.
That's cool. And something else that's kind of nice is the cable that runs from the rear camera to the front one. It's super, super short. And so instead of having a cable that's supposed to run all the way to the back of the car, they give you the short one that's designed to connect with like the 2 cameras almost touching each other.
Exactly.
That's really nice.
Because this specific package is designed for that Uber package, or anybody that wants to record inside the cabin for whatever the main reason be.
All right, so next let's move on to the premium dash cams. So these are going to be more of your higher end ones with more cool features and capabilities than some of the basic ones. So stepping on, let's talk about these two first. We've got the Thinkware FA200 Pro and the Blackvue DR900S 2-channel.
Yes.
So what is it about these dash cams? Like, why do you think these are maybe 2 of the top picks as far as getting into the premium ones?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess Blackvue DR900S, with the launch of DR900S, these 2 models are being seen as middle tier now.
They're kind of almost getting overshadowed. Like this one, it shoots at 4K versus these are only 1080p.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's only about, let's say even 6 months ago or even 10 months ago, these 2 used to be considered top of the top.
They were like the top of the line ones here.
Exactly. So with that said, F800 Pro offers full HD front, full HD at the back,
1080p front and rear.
1080p, yep. And DR750 also shoots 1080p front and 1080p at the back.
Yep.
And it's interesting because I personally use Thinkware F800 Pro, but you use
I use the Blackvue.
So this conversation came up, and we want to talk about it.
They're both good dash cams, I guess is what it comes down to. It's not like one is bad and one is good. It's like they each have their advantages, and I think they sort of appeal depending on what your needs are.
Exactly. So for me, I like Thinkware because, interestingly enough, when Thinkware came to us to talk about their dash cams, they talked about the red light detection cameras, the speed cams and even the lane departure warning, front collision warning, all these ADAS features. And I never really understood it. And not that, I'd speed or anything. I don't have any speeding ticket, or I don't anticipate running red lights.
Let's keep it that way.
But it's super useful in a way where it tells you where the red light cameras are, where speed cams are.
Red light camera in 100 meters.
That feature alone really sold me on Thinkware F800 Pro, even though I do like the form factor of the Blackvue. And in a way, like I said, I think we're the very first one to bring Blackvue over to North America. I think we are, now that I think. And therefore, I do have an emotional attachment towards Blackvue brand itself. And I do really like the form factor that Blackvue comes in. It's sleek, it's nice looking dash cam, but I just like the Thinkware because it's got, in a way, it's a bit more energy efficient when it comes to parking mode.
It does have that capability.
It is.
And that's actually one of the differences here. It's like this has kind of a low powered parked recording where it does, both of the dash cams do like automatic switching between driving and parking mode, and they both have buffered.
That's right, they do.
This one also has another option that would be non-buffered. It kind of goes to sleep and then it wakes up when needed. So it's not going to have that like pre-buffered recording before the impact, but the advantage is it's in like a super low powered state.
Exactly.
So it lasts for like a super long time.
Exactly.
If you need, was it? Yeah. How long is it? Like a week? I know it depends on the battery or something.
Yeah, it depends on if you're using a selling battery pack or so, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why, and especially for me, I was involved in a hit and run accident. So therefore, a dash cam that can record a reliable parking mode video footage, and believe it or not, people do care. Like people care about, especially I think on the Korean dashcam forums, people are always comparing between different dashcams, which are the ones that can last longer in the parking mode. I think where always comes to the top.
Yeah, it does. Just it's got the low powered recording capability and it lasts longer than the Blackvues do.
Yeah, it does.
In that regard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, they both offer about the same video quality, I'd say, nowadays.
They're pretty similar. They kind of go back and forth. Yeah, I remember testing both, and yeah, they're pretty similar in terms of video quality. They're both really good in low light capabilities as far as the sensor that they use. The low light performance is actually better here than it is on like the 4K version. That's actually one of the advantages of the sensor that they use here.
Yes.
I personally prefer the Blackvue. One of the biggest reasons, again, it has to do with like the parked recording capabilities.
Yes.
With this one, like they can, in parked recording, they can give you motion detection, they can do time-lapse stuff, they can do that impact detection. With this one, every time you start up your car, if you have the notifications enabled, it will tell you how many events it saw for motion detected. So if it kept seeing cars driving by, you'll know that. If there was an impact detected, it tells you all of this. It tells you when the GPS is connected. And so with this one, I like the capabilities, but if you want the notifications, it's really chatty on startup.
During parking mode, event detection recording 1 occurred. Continuous recording will now start. GPS connected.
As opposed to this one, you can choose which settings and options it tells you. So like, it can record the stuff, but maybe only tell you if there was an impact in case of a hit and run or something.
An impact was detected during parking mode.
It does a better job of only telling me the stuff that I feel is relevant.
Exactly, and I think that's a great point because I think it was Thinkware that came out with that function first. So again, we have a very long history with the Blackvues, and a lot of Blackvue customers always wanted, hey, I love this parking mode, but it doesn't necessarily tell me whether or not if my vehicle was involved in a hit and run or vandalism.
And you don't always see that when you get into your car at first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was always their wish, people's top of the wish list, to have these dash cams that would tell you if an event happened. And then Thinkware came out with this function, and people are starting to feel this thing is too chatty, it's talking too much.
Like that can easily be changed with the firmware update. Like, come on, Thinkware.
I know, exactly. And it tells me how many intake videos are, and then you happen to have a new car or you care about a new car, and every single time you get in
the car, I'm like, hold
and
on,
you
let
get
me
a
pull
little
out my
paranoid.
phone. Yeah,
exactly.
So they do have Wi-Fi, and so I'll do this. I'll get back in my car and like, see, oh, that was just a false alert. And I'm sitting here trying to look at the video, and I'm like, can you tell me only if it's relevant?
Exactly. And since then, Blackvue integrated something very similar, but Blackvue didn't necessarily tell you how many videos were recorded.
Yes, it doesn't tell you how many.
Exactly.
things.
So at first, that also turned off a lot of people because you hear that impact was detected while in the parking mode.
But
and you freak out.
Yeah.
But it was only a closing of your own door.
You close your door, or one thing for me all the time is I come back from the grocery store, I close my trunk.
Yes.
And then I get in the car, so even if I close the door softly, that would always trigger it. So they made a change recently where they ignore anything in the past 3 minutes,
Yes.
which is you getting back in your car. That will not trigger the impact detected notification. Whereas this one, their solution is like just to tell you how many. So if there's one impact detected, you know that was you.
Exactly.
If you hear two, then you know one was me, the other was something else. I should check and see what that was. So again, I just prefer don't tell me unless it's something that wasn't me. So just kind of different approaches there. Something else, I think like one of the things that separates these dash cams is they have the cloud capability.
That's true.
So if you have like a Wi-Fi hotspot or something, they can go out to the internet and you can tap in remotely from your phone and like check in with a real-time security camera feed almost.
That's right.
In case there's an accident, they can notify your family, that kind of stuff. Like there's a lot of really cool notifications. If somebody tries to hit your car when you're gone, if this has a Wi-Fi connection, it can actually notify you on your phone and you can see what's going on. It can upload that footage automatically to the cloud. I mean, the cloud stuff is pretty cool. However, neither of us I know really use that feature.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Blackvue actually offers much better cloud capability.
Their cloud capability, it is more feature rich. It's better developed here on the Blackvue end.
And they're very serious about making this cloud thing work. And in a way, I like Blackvue because they're the very first one to make the full HD one-channel dashcam, and they set a bar right there. So other dashcams other dashcam manufacturers had to follow that footstep and make a full HD one-channel dashcam. And they're the first one to make Wi-Fi enabled dashcam, and they're the first one to make a dedicated dual-channel system dashcam, and they're the first one to really release a cloud functionality. So
and
I like
now
that.
4K.
Exactly.
And, like, they're doing a lot of innovative stuff. It's
Exactly.
cool.
So that's why I look and I think Blackvue has done a great job in setting a bar, and they're the very pioneer in terms of creating something new and setting a bar high, right? And their cloud functionality is getting better and better. I make yearly trip to Korea to see them, and they're just beefing up that team to make that cloud functionality even better. But I think the over the cloud functionality itself is more tailored towards fleet customers.
And that's another difference that we'll see here too. Even that, yeah.
Exactly. And in the fleet market, many of these trucks are equipped with Wi-Fi hotspots.
Yeah.
So if you have Wi-Fi hotspots in the vehicle, why not? You can piggyback off of another Wi-Fi network, and the DR750 or DR900 or FA200 Pro could do the job. But we both agree that Blackvue has the better Wi-Fi over the cloud.
In general, yeah. Something else to mention about the fleet is if you have a bunch of dash cams, Blackvue, the first dash cam, it's free, but if you want to start adding additional dash cams to connect to the cloud, there's a charge for every single dash cam, as opposed to Thinkware gives you an unlimited amount of dash cams for free. So that's another charge that'll add up, and it's a monthly fee here. So if it's something you're considering doing a lot of dash cams, this will save you money in the long term.
Yes, that's true.
Trade-offs, you know?
Yes, and a couple other things about Thinkware is that Thinkware has a direct hardwire cable kit.
That's cool.
Whereas with DR750 or Blackvue in general still relies on PowerMagic Pro solution, and I prefer the direct hardwire kit option.
I do too, for the most part.
Yeah, so because as soon as it goes into, as soon as you turn off your vehicle, it goes X amount of minutes later, it goes into parking mode, so it's very, very accurate. But whereas with the PowerMagic Pro system, it relies on the G sensor. So if you're not moving for about 10 plus minutes or X amount of time again, then it goes into parking mode. And let's say if the G sensor is broken, or if you're parked, or if you're stuck in traffic, stuck at border crossing, believe it or not, we do have cases where customers are wondering, why is it going into parking mode? I'm still driving. I know I'm stuck in traffic, but why is it going into parking mode, right? So I do prefer the direct hardwire kit option, and many of the dashcam companies have adapted to that system. I think Blackvue may be coming out with something second generation of PowerMagic Pro.
Oh, very cool.
Wink, wink. I think OBD solution.
That could be nice.
I think
Easier
they
to
are.
implement.
I think they're going to come out with it. So it's not a huge downside, I'd say, but it's way more accurate with that. And one last thing I like about Thinkware is that it doesn't necessarily use a coaxial cable solution.
Yes.
And
Basically, to connect the front and rear cameras, the port, the connector they use is a different connector.
And although it could be more difficult to install because the cable is thicker than the coaxial cable, and Blackvue's reasoning behind using coaxial cable is because it's easier to install. And you bet it is much easier to install Blackvue Dashcam compared to Thinkware Dashcam.
Yeah.
But I guess as I am in the business of selling these dashcams, and we see so many issues with coaxial cables.
Yeah, they break connectors.
Exactly. And I mean, it's not a huge downside of it, but it completely eliminates that issue with the Thinkware FA200 Pro.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. As long as you're careful and as long as you're aware that these coaxial cables are finicky and fragile, you don't make that mistake.
Yeah. This is a little orange port there. I connect and disconnect fairly regular just for testing. I'm taking dash cams in and out and stuff, but I mean, most of the time you leave it in and you're not messing with it.
That's true.
And even to pop out the memory card, you're not unplugging the cable, so you don't actually have to mess with it too much. So once it's in, it's not really an issue. But I guess, if you're not careful installing it in the first place or something, it is possible for that to get damaged. I guess something else, maybe to go back to the parking mode stuff. I agree, I like the way that they do it where it just wires directly into your fuse box, and all the voltage management stuff. You can just go into the app and set the voltage thresholds of how far your car battery has to drop in voltage before it goes into, it shuts off, so you don't drain your car battery. I prefer that solution in general. I think it's cleaner. Once you have everything installed, the PowerMagic Pro, it's a little box that you install kind of in the middle that does that management. Once you install it, it's not a big difference.
That's not a big difference.
Plus, I like that it has like an on-off switch.
That's true.
So if you're like, I'm not going to need parking mode capability for a while, I'm going to be parking in my garage, you can just turn it off, and it'll record when it's driving, but not when you're parked, which is great, as opposed to something like this where you're going to have to physically unplug the camera and you may forget to plug it back in next time.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
Good point, because even though these dash cams, generally if you're buying a Korean dash cam, I guess you are aware of the parking mode and you could use the parking mode. But believe it or not, there are people that simply want dash cams to be just installed without exposing any cables. And Thinkware can do that because, Blackvue can do that because PowerMagic Pro has that function where you can turn it off. It only fires up when your vehicle is on and you're driving. If it parks, then it goes completely off. But if you want that parking mode, you can simply flicker it on and off. Whereas with the Thinkware, you do have to go into the app, and that's actually one of the things I've been telling Thinkware. By default, by the way, with Thinkware FA200 Pro, parking mode is disabled.
Oh, really?
So if you bought one and if you are installing it to use with the parking mode, you have to make sure you enable it. I don't get their thought process. I would rather
That's
just
kind of weird.
Yeah,
have
it's
it on
weird.
by default.
Exactly. So we've communicated that issue multiple times, and I think they're going to make that change. I think it's just a software update.
Add the parking mode notifications. Change that too.
Exactly. So that's one of the things that I do prefer about that PowerMagic Pro.
But overall, they're both great dash cams. As you can see, we're starting to get into the nuances of the cabling and
I know
this sort of stuff, But ultimately, they're both great dash cams.
Great dash cams.
Price-wise, so $279 here.
Yes.
For single channel.
That's right.
And then $379 for both if you want a dual channel.
That's right. And again, just like the FA200 or any Thinkware dash cams out there, except for the F50, which isn't available anymore, I like the fact that Thinkware Dashcam gives you an option to add your secondary camera down the road, because with Blackvue devices, you have to make that call on the spot, right?
Yes,
and a two-channel system or one-channel system.
Yeah, if you buy the single channel, I actually thought at first, I was like, oh, I have a DR750S, I'm going to upgrade to the DR900S, and this is kind of annoying because if you want to replace just the front camera, because these rear cameras are actually identical, if you buy the single channel one, there is no connector here for the rear camera, so you have to buy the two-channel one. So that was actually kind of annoying. But yeah, it is a good point. If you want to, at some point, add a rear camera, you have the option with Thinkware, but you don't with the Blackvue. So that's kind of another point of consideration.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're in the business of selling dashcams, so we see tons of different types of customers.
Yeah.
They are interested in a dashcam that can offer the parking mode, or they want to buy the Korean reputable dashcams, but they don't necessarily have the budget for it, because these are, expensive dashcams, I'd say.
Yeah, we're getting into like the high-end ones.
Almost $400 after getting a proper hardwire kit.
Yeah, you add PowerMagic Pro. I know they come with like a 16 gig card, but you're probably going to want a larger one.
That's true.
1080p front front and rear, park recording, driving recording, 2 cameras, like get a bigger memory card.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's super important, especially when you're investing this much money towards dash cams. It's a no-brainer, especially DR900. I'd say 16 gigabyte only gets you 2 hours.
Yeah, it's not
It's
much.
not gonna do much.
So actually, well, speaking of which, let's take a look at this one next. So this is pretty much the top of the line dash cam, I would say. It's my dash cam of choice. It's the one that I run in my car. It's essentially the DR750S, but it's got a new sensor inside, and so it actually records at 4K for the front camera. So 1080p for the rear, 4K in the front, which is awesome because you get so much more detail that it's able to capture for license plates or people's faces, or just, they're usually cut kind of a wide viewing angle, so they can't really record that far away. It's designed to get wider. So having the higher resolution to see license plates a little bit farther away, it definitely makes a difference, and I've compared both of them. I've got a video about that. But yeah, it's a really nice 4 times the resolution over 1080p. It's a pretty big difference.
Oh yeah. And they're, again, Blackvue's been the actual company. I mean, I think they're the very first one to make a true 4K quality dash cam.
Yeah.
I know Chinese dash cams have
4K,
but I know they're not real 4K.
Well, there's other dash cams that are 4K.
So we don't want to get in trouble for saying that, but but this is real. This is
it's
real
actually 4K. Yeah.
And I know that, like I said, we make a yearly trip to Blackvue's headquarters in Korea, and we've seen the evolution of their dash cams over and over and over. And these guys really got it right, and we gotta give them props for that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're the first one, again, to make full HD video quality dash cam, 2-channel Wi-Fi, and now 4K. And according to them, they're the ones that created the true parking mode in the first place. So, I mean, if that is indeed true, then Blackvue has really set milestones along the ways in this dashcam market.
And I mean, taking a look at it, having 4K in the front, I love that. It may require a faster computer. I just upgraded my laptop, my older one. It's like a 2013 MacBook Pro, and it really struggled with the 4K. And they do have a new codec that they're using, H.265, to help keep the file sizes smaller and comparable to 1080p here, but still get 4K, which is kind of awesome. But yeah, higher resolution. You've got true parking mode capabilities, buffered parking, 2-channel front and rear. You've got the cloud capabilities. If it's helpful, it's nice. I mean, support for big memory cards. Like, it pretty much has all the bells and whistles. There are a couple situations where I still think it's better to get the DR750S. One of the things that people have been reporting, I've seen this issue as well, is in the heat. I think it might be related to the 4K sensor or something, but this one has a tendency of overheating and shutting down and not actually recording. And if you've got the cloud stuff, you'll keep getting notifications that, like, the camera is disconnected and reconnected and stuff. So if you drive in areas with heat, you may actually want to stick with the DR750S. I mean, I live in Seattle. It's like 2 hours from Canada here, you know, and even in the summertime it can get kind of hot, and it was enough to shut down the dash cam. So if you're in a hot area, this might be a better choice. The 4K stuff, that's I think something that they could work on. And additionally, I've also noticed this one, the sensor that they use in the DR750S, it has better low light capability. This one's actually not that great at night as far as the low light stuff. You can turn up the brightness, but then daytime footage is too bright. And so I think this one does better with heat, and then also the nighttime performance is better with the Sony Starvis sensor. So great camera, but again, nothing's perfect. I still think this is better for some people, but overall this is kind of like my dash cam of choice.
Yeah, of course. And I guess from our perspective, I can tell you that Blackvue's been working on that. Blackvue's working. Blackvue's aware that they had this rough summer in the States.
Yeah, it was hot here.
But at the end of the day, they are fixing it. They're working on it. And Blackvue's got a team of engineers. And I mean, the CEO himself is an engineer, has an engineering background. So they don't outsource these things to get their program optimized. They do it all in-house. So that's one thing that we can count on Blackvue's, because they listen. And I mean, even with the Wi-Fi app, going back to this DR750 with Thinkware option we talked about, Blackvue, I'd say, had I prefer Thinkware app back in the days, but nowadays a lot more people actually prefer Blackvue app. So props to them again, right? And again, in-house engineering, in-house software engineers, and all sorts of scientists or rocket scientists working there to make this dashcam work. Yeah,
I've owned 4 generations of the Blackvue dashcam so far, and they do a good job as far as their updates. They're updated pretty regularly, adding new features based on customer feedback. Things like the park notifications, that stuff was a recent change. There was one thing we saw, there was a privacy issue with some of the cloud stuff where reported it, and they fixed it. I think after I'd reported it to them, it took maybe a week or so for them to get it all updated and push the update in the app and everything, and I just checked and that's fixed. So like they're doing a good job of continually updating the dash cam, which is important, especially if you're going to be spending money on something like this, to have it bugs fixed, new features added, all that kind of stuff improved. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. I mean, even if you look at the new iPhone, now that we got the new iPhone XS and the new Android, Blackvue is the only company that isn't suffering from this whole bunch of new updates, right? And I guess, again, they've done a good job in optimizing their apps.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff to say here. I mean, of course, everything has pros and cons, you know. That's always the case, but yeah, I'm happy with them as an overall package, and I'm happy to see that it continues to keep getting better and better.
Yes.
So that's why it's my dash cam of choice, but still there's a ton of other ones, and I get it, it's kind of pricey, you know, plus a memory card and Power Magic Pro, and you know, that's a bunch of accessories. I guess speaking of which, let's also talk about batteries next.
Oh yeah, sure.
All right, so now taking a closer look at batteries and specifically how to power your dash cam when you're parked, there's two primary ways of doing it. One is to power it off of your car battery, and the other one is to get a dedicated dash cam battery pack.
Yes.
And so let's talk about first the more affordable option, and the simpler one is to hardwire it and plug it into your car battery. So there's a couple different tools that do this. Some of them are built in. There's a couple different kind of voltage monitors, and we've got the Power Magic Pro here.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about this and what it's used for.
Sure. So Power Magic Pro is the most basic form of hardwiring your dash cam to your vehicle. So essentially, it comes with ground cable, ACC, and battery. So essentially, you have to find where your fuse box is in your vehicle, identify what's running even when your vehicle is parked, what's not running when your vehicle is not running, and finally finding a grounding bolt to get that constant power for your dash cam. So by using this, you could use your dash cam in the parking mode, and it's the most affordable way to do so. So Power Magic Pro specifically used for Blackvue dash cams. Thinkware has its own direct cable.
And other manufacturers do these too. Yeah. So this is nice, and the idea is you power it off of your car battery. It's not the greatest option to do that necessarily. I mean, your car battery, it's designed for starting your car.
That's true.
So supplying a lot of power really quickly, as opposed to a dash cam, it's designed to take a little bit of power for a long period of time. And that kind of drain isn't necessarily the best for your car battery. But it's definitely the easiest way to go, is just wire right into the battery that you already have in your car.
Exactly. And I think the most important feature to talk about those, specifically Power Magic Pro, is that it cuts off power for your dash cam, for your vehicle, so that you don't drain completely. You don't drain your car's battery completely.
And that's the whole idea. It's just monitoring the voltage level, and if it drops too low, it shuts off the dash cam, so your car actually starts the next time you get back in.
Exactly, and that's the whole purpose of it.
Exactly.
But if but for specific certain cars, for example, Hondas, Subarus, they have weaker batteries, and if you use extended period time with the Power Magic Pro, you may still see an issue.
Okay.
Only in the winter time, I'd say, depending on where you live. We've seen it, and that's where this battery comes in.
Okay.
Right? So if you are looking to equip your car with a dash cam for an extended amount of time, the batteries are the way to go. So let's talk about this.
Yeah, so these are great. There's two options. I've been testing these the past couple weeks. There's the Blackvue B124 and the CellLink Neo. Both of these are recent updates over the previous CellLink one, the CellLink B and the Blackvue B112. Bigger capacity, more features, that kind of stuff. There's Bluetooth built in so they can pair with your phone. You can see how much capacity is left, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So let's talk about these, kind of record times, what they do.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess I'll start with CellLink. CellLink's mother company is called eGen, and eGen's been in this making a battery for your vehicle, for your phone, Samsung phones. They used to be a big partner for Samsung before they started making everything in-house. With that said, CellLink decided that it was about their time to make a dashcam battery pack, because Korean dashcam users were buying car batteries to extend their parking mode, all sorts of things.
Portable USB battery packs, you can try.
Exactly. So they came out with a model called CellLink B. That's their very first generation dedicated dashcam battery pack, and it worked out great for many dashcam users. They wanted to have that assurance of using that extended parking mode, and by using a 128 gigabyte micro SD card with these CellLink battery packs, you could be getting anywhere between 20 to 30 plus hours, depending on a dashcam of your choice.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the differences. So I've tried all these in my car just to give you an idea of like things that I've done. I ran the Power Magic Pro for a couple years. On my car, my Miata, I get about 12 hours of record time with it. Record time varies depending on what dash cam you choose, your settings, how old your battery is, ambient temperature. I mean, a lot of you guys are gonna have bigger batteries than I've got in my car, you know? So tons of variables, but just to give you some numbers, I see about 12 hours of record time there. I've been playing with these the past couple weeks. They've been sitting in my closet and I've been testing all sorts of stuff. What I find with mine is with the DR900S, that one, if I turn everything on, 2 channels with the cloud stuff, I get about 16 hours of record time. If I turn the cloud off, I get about 20 hours of record time. And if I do 1 channel instead of both cameras, it goes up to 24 hours. And then you also have the option of adding a second battery pack. You can add a 3rd or a 4th if you want as well. There's a cable that connects between the front and rear, or between the expansion ones. And that effectively doubles your record times. I've even tested some cameras that take a little bit less power. The DR750S takes less power than the 900.
And even the Thinkware FA200 Pro
That
or any
one,
other dash cams you could get.
So mine are kind of like the worst case scenario. If you turn everything on with a dash cam that takes a lot of power, I get maybe 36 hours with 2 batteries. But if you go to something like the DR750S and you're doing, the cloud off, that I tested was like 55 hours of record time.
That's right.
And the Thinkware, I haven't tested that one yet, but that should be even longer, especially when
much,
you're going with
much
2.
longer. At least 5 or 6 more hours. And that's significant.
That's significant, yeah.
It is. And I think the most important point about these dashcam battery pack is not necessarily giving you that extended period of time, but also the idea behind it is that you don't necessarily have to hardwire it.
Yeah.
You feel intimidated about hardwiring a system, or even if you take it to a local shop, maybe a couple hours, and that's a lot of hours for labor. But with the battery pack, you could simply use a 12-volt cable that comes with it.
Plug it into your cigarette lighter,
Exactly, and that saves you from the hassle of hardwiring it into your vehicle. And believe it or not, many people find that quite intimidating to do so.
Yeah, you can do it. I've got tutorials, but it's so much easier just to plug it in.
Exactly.
And the batteries, if you take a look at them, they actually have an option to whether you're running it plugged into your cigarette lighter or hardwire. The benefit of hardwiring is it takes 9 amps instead of 5, so it does recharge faster. As far as recharge times, from dead, it's about maybe 45 minutes if you're hardwired.
If you're hardwired.
If you have it in the cigarette lighter, it's maybe closer to, 50 or 60 minutes?
50 to 60 minutes, yes.
And that's a big difference to be able to recharge the whole thing in an hour or less, as opposed to like a lot of batteries are designed to be charged overnight, like 8 hours or something, to charge that quickly, and then have 24 hours of record time with like an hour's worth of driving, 45 minutes worth of driving. On your commute, you could have enough to actually power the whole dash cam all day and all night.
Yep.
Which is the whole idea of what these are designed to be used for.
Exactly.
Yeah. And there's other things you can do, like if you're parked for multiple days, if you're in your garage, you can plug it into the wall and recharge the battery that way. There's tons of other stuff as well. But yeah, I'm a big fan of these. I think they're great. They're better as far as temperature stuff.
Yes.
So compared to like other battery systems, if it's really hot or cold, they won't explode in the heat. Unlike maybe some lithium ion, I've heard of some phones exploding and stuff. There's issues with that. And then also if you're parked somewhere where it's cold, these will do better than some other types of batteries.
Yep.
Lithium iron phosphate, the types of battery cells they use, very good for parking modes. So.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Really cool there.
Yeah, so if you're considering a dash cam, especially if the parking mode is something that you really, really pay attention to, I think this is something that you should definitely consider. Yeah. Because if you put, the cars aren't, like you said, designed to use dash cams, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can
especially
do
in
it.
the parking. Exactly.
But it's like leaving your light on for a while or something. Right?
Exactly. And especially for, let's say, BMWs and Porsches, and because of those 2 cars in Korea, these eGen started developing a dash cam dedicated for them.
Are there issues specific with those brands?
Yes. So we can go more in depth about that in the other video.
Yeah, let's do another video going into more.
But I don't want to keep you guys too long here. But essentially, if you consider getting those batteries exchanged by the dealer, you're looking at anywhere between $400 to $500.
That's true.
Because if you consistently kill or weaken that car battery itself, whereas these things less than $200, why not?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Actually, less than $300.
Yeah, less than $300. I was like, wow, you got a good deal going on. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you very much. Let's go ahead and just do a brief summary of like all the best dash cams and which one you should choose. So let's start with the basic and expensive ones.
Sounds good, and we'll make it super quick.
Excellent.
So the most basic dash cams that you can find on our site or in this market, Viofo A119, if you're looking for a single channel solution, just front facing only. If you want a dual channel system, front and back, I'd say Viofo A129. It does have a very, very basic parking mode if you hardwire the system, but for that price range, that's the parking mode after all. And it comes with a very reputable company, Viofo, and we strongly recommend them. If you're looking for a dash cam that has true parking mode and still being it somewhat affordable, it is still under $200 for dual channel system, regardless if you want to go front and back or front and inside. FA200 is way to go. I think we needed to go over that Thinkware has been the reliable source for making a dash cam. And before Thinkware made this dash cam, came out with FA200, Korean dash cams were anywhere between $200 to $300. But now for a dual channel system, you can get it under $200 that has a true buffer parking mode.
That's like your best budget parking mode dash cam.
Exactly. And if you're driving for Uber, Lyft, rideshare customers, this one does have the IR built in.
So get the IR one.
Exactly. And at the same time, again, parking mode. Again, just, I mean, it's super cool to use parking mode. And I guess for me, I've been involved in a hit and run accident, so I go over and over and again. And why not if you just need to hardwire it, and it's only about $20-something to buy a hardwire kit to optimize this whole parking mode system, right? So that's all it is.
And then if you want to add some cloud integration to connect with your phone, remotely update footage or upload footage, take a look at one of the higher end Thinkware or Blackvue cameras. You've got the F800 Pro, and I guess one of the biggest appeals of this one is the extended parking recording. So if you want really long parking times, this would be the way to go. If you want a little bit more configurability and control and a few more features, the cloud support is more feature rich here on the Blackvue. Plus you do have the control of like the park notifications and whatnot. So a little bit different experience, but pros and cons to each one. And then finally, if you want to go for like the top of the line, the 4K one, the Blackvue DR900S, this is pretty much your, again, top of the line dash cam, high resolution, all the cloud integration, all the bells and whistles. But again, I guess that caveat, if you're in an area with a lot of high heat, right, a hot place, you might want to stick with the DR750S. Otherwise, these are going to be our top picks for dash cams, everything from the basic ones up to the top of the line ones.
Yes.
And then finally, for those of you guys who want to pick one up, if you actually go, once you go to purchase a dash cam, any dash cam over $120, type in the coupon Vortex25, and it'll save you guys $25 off the price of any of the dash cams. And that includes the A119, which does obviously cost less than $120. But if you add on things like the hardwire cable that you're going to want anyways, a circular polarizer is a good idea. That'll bump you up to the mark. And then also, they all come with a memory card for free. Don't have to pay extra for that. That's cool. And so pretty much for any of these dash cams, Vortex 25 bucks off, and boom, there you go.
All right.
Cool. And then if you guys have any additional questions, I know we went pretty in depth here, but if you've got some additional questions, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do, how can they maybe leave a comment here in the video, or how can they get in touch with you guys for support?
Sure. So we are based in North America. We service customers from West Coast to East Coast on BlackboxMyCar.com for US customers and BlackboxMyCar.ca for Canadian customers. We have toll-free number. Call us at 1-888-978-6560, or you can contact us through email, info@blackboxmycar.com. And we also have a live chat.
Live chat too.
So contact us if you have any questions. If you want a system tailored for your own vehicle, just simply let us know.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. And thanks for having me. I'm in your house. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
And I'm here with the CEO, Alex.
Hello.
Sorry, I was trying to remember your last name.
Alex Jang. I wasn't sure what do I say. Is that it? Is that it? Okay, hi.
With Alex Jang, who is the CEO of BlackboxMyCar. And you guys are the biggest distributor of dash cams here in North America, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, perfect. You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what should I say?